Welcome to the X Corner. I'm here to add a little mutation to that superhero crew. I'll be covering the X comics for the week of October 31st, 2018. This week you have 4 comics. Multiple Man number 5, Old Man Logan number 50, What If Magik number 1, and X-Men Black Emma Frost number 1. Spoilers. Of course. We'll start with Multiple Man number 5, written by Matthew Rosenberg, art by Andy McDonald. Well, just when you thought this comic couldn't get more confusing or insane, Rosenberg pulls it out of a hat and tops himself. So evil Jamie from the future has come with an army of dupes to take over the present. Bishop thinks he's fixed everything, but that doesn't go according to plan. He planted bombs on one of the Super Jamies, thus destroying Jamie Prime, which should have destroyed all the dupes, including the evil ones. But somehow Jamie and the Super Jamies got shunted into an alternate timeline and didn't die. So they show back up in the present to fight the evil Jamie and his army with the X-Men. Evil Jamie got a hold of a serum that turned him into a Jamie Prime, so now there's 2 of them. They fight and eventually absorb each other. So in the new single Jamie Prime, there are 2 personalities fighting for dominance. Good Jamie Prime gains control enough to have the Hulk Jamie break free and kill him, thus killing all the dupes. This leaves the X-Men with the cleanup of hundreds of dead Jamies, which must have really been bad since they are still working on it 2 days later. Suddenly a time portal opens up, and a beach bum Jamie appears. He was the Jamie who ended up in the Marvel swimsuit past. He pretty much gave up his mission and bummed around on the beach for a while, but then after it got a little hot for mutants there, he decided to come back to see what was going on. The X-Men just let him go since he's the last Jamie. As he walks away, he finds the serum to make him Jamie Prime, and now we get a beach bum drunk Madrox in the Marvel Universe. This was the most convoluted, insane way I've ever seen to bring back a character from the dead. And it was glorious. They could have just had Multiple Man show back up and say he got better, but no, they made a 5-issue miniseries with twisted and contorted through time to just have the lazy Jamie, who didn't even bother to finish his mission, be the last man standing. It was great. I won't lie, there are some leaps in the story which I don't fully understand, but that matters not when there's so much timey-wimey going on. Hats off to you, Mr. Rosenberg. You've made a work of art. 9 out of 10 for sticking that landing. Then we have Old Man Logan number 50, written by Ed Brisson and art by Ibrahim Robertson. From one of the wackiest, lighthearted comics going, to one of the darkest and most depressing. Please, Logan, win. I don't think I can take much more punishment. So Logan landed in front of Maestro, and before he can use the Regenix, it gets knocked out of his hand and some kid grabs it. The kid that was helping Logan gets to a doctor, but he dies. And then some of the townsfolk say enough is enough and start a rebellion. Logan is captured by Maestro and strung up. One of the rebelling townsfolk gets to where he is and finds out about the Regenix. Handily, her daughter has it, so they hatch a plan to free Logan. They get a bunch of guns they've been hiding and attack Maestro. The bullets don't hurt him, but he is distracted long enough for Logan to get injected with the Regenix. He breaks his chains and starts to fight Maestro. Maestro jumps away, saying he has an offer to make Logan. Logan tracks him to a cave where his time machine is. It will allow Logan to go back to his home and his family. Logan says they must both leave, and Maestro just destroys the machine. Logan doesn't take that well, so he decapitates Maestro. He then collapses as the Regenix and his blood peters out. This is the end of the Old Man Logan series. It's to be continued in the Dead Man Logan mini, so I think we'll finally get a resolution to the Old Man saga there. Thank God Logan got to decapitate Maestro. If it hadn't happened, I would have just curled into a ball and died. It's interesting that as the townsfolk rebelled and the snow started to fall, the color palette brightened up. That's a nice little touch there. This series has had its ups and downs, but I will say I'm glad to see that it will be getting a resolution. 50 issues is nothing to sneeze at either. It was their longest running X series up to this point. For the happy ending, I'm giving this one an 8. Man, I've never been happier to see a Hulk with his head cut off. Next we have What If Magik number 1, written by Lee Williams and art by Philippe Andrade. So this What If is basically what would have happened if Illyana had come back to Earth after being trapped in Limbo, but somehow not hooked up with the X-Men. They don't explain why she didn't. We just begin with her wandering around getting accosted by sexual predators, and quickly learn they messed with the wrong kid. Dr. Strange eventually hears there's some magical being screwing people up, so he goes to investigate. He assumes she's a demon or possessed, but when he realizes she's just a damaged little girl, he takes her in under his wing. After some training montages, eventually Illyana is able to create something good, and makes her soul staff. Just then her Limbo tormentor Belasco finds her. Dr. Strange fights him, but is losing until Illyana uses her soul staff to impale Belasco, killing him. She's distraught she had to use something good to kill. but Doctor Strange fathers her through it and eventually gives her her very own cloak so that she can eventually rise to become Sorceress Supreme. Although this does not happen in the comic, so the cover lied to us. Lee Williams was involved with a couple of the better X annuals this year, so I was more excited for this What If than the others. Not to mention she also wrote the Emma Frost comic this week too. And she pulls off a nice little story about Doctor Strange adopting Illyana. But therein lies the rub with all these new What Ifs. The concept of the original What If was to set up a premise and then pay off the premise with usually the twist ending that the real Marvel Universe is way better than the What If one because something bad always happens. Coach and Andrew always joked that the What Ifs used to end with everyone dying. This What If was a good story, but really didn't go anywhere. I was expecting a twist or something, but it was just a nice allegory to adoption. I liked it, and the watercolor art was gorgeous, but somehow it didn't feel like a What If. I would almost rather have seen this as the real Illyana in Doctor Strange. She may be older now, but she could still benefit from this fatherly touch, and even they did train together for a while. I'm giving this a 7 out of 10 because I did enjoy the story and the art was great, but Marvel really missed the boat on these What Ifs. Then there's X-Men Black Emma Frost #1, written by Lee Williams also, with art by Chris Bachalo, with the Apocalypse backup by Thompson, Nadler, and Borges. Lee Williams is back, and we know she can write a good story, but can she write a good Emma Frost story? The answer is yes. So Emma enlists the help of the X-Men to stop the Hellfire Club. They are disorganized with Magneto running roughshod all over them, and Sebastian Shaw recovering from taking the Mother Vine. Her plan is to have the X-Men hit all different Hellfire locations at once, with her taking out Shaw. The plan goes flawlessly as the X-Men take out the other bases. Emma infiltrates the main office and makes her way to Shaw's bedchamber. He fights back, but she planned for that, and had him drugged. She then dons the mantle of the Black King, and now runs the Hellfire Club. In the Apocalypse backup, he realizes that the device exploiting in the first issue made this whole island infused with his DNA that was trying to evolve. He has to show he is the one who is the ultimate being by destroying all the pretenders, so he ravages the island, leaving nothing left. Or is there? The Emma story was a simple tale, although somewhat predictable, and still entertaining in its execution. The nice touches of the X-Men forcing Emma to meet in Walmart since it would offend her, to her getting the final laugh as she sent them all gift baskets thanking them for their help in getting her the throne. The pages where Emma is walking through the Hellfire Club, causing havoc with her mental powers for what seems like fun, was really well done. She makes some people fight, but others she makes make out or dance depending on her whim. It shows her power compared to regular people, and foreshadows her lust for the ultimate power and the leadership of the Hellfire Club. Really well done, and I hope to see more of Lee Williams on X stuff in the future. Bachelot's art was a little looser than usual, but he does draw a great Emma, and I did enjoy him on the X-Men previously. He has a kinetic style which juxtaposed nicely with Emma's calmness in this book. 8 out of 10. As for the Apocalypse story, I will say that I'm glad it's over. We finally did get to see some action as Apocalypse ravaged the island, but it wasn't worth reading all these backups. 6 out of 10 for it being finally over. It was a funny week. 2 comics by Ed Brisson, including Extermination #4, which we'll have a separate video, and 2 by Lee Williams. And everything was pretty good. The only bad part was the Apocalypse story at the end there, but it was so small that it didn't really matter that much. I did enjoy the Lee Williams stories, both of them. The Emma Frost one worked as a start to her arc in the future as the new leader of the Hellfire Club. It's a good spot for her to be. And the Illyana story was great. It's just, unfortunately, it's not a what-if story. None of these what-ifs now are working for me. Old Man Logan ended, but we'll have more of him. And Multiple Man ended, and I'm sure we'll have more of him. So it's been a great week. We'll see you next week. We'll have a lot more miniseries, and eventually we'll get back to having regular X-Men comics. See you there.